Hi everybody, welcome to Amy Nolte Music. My video today is about the great song Steppin' Out by Joe Jackson. It hit number 6 on the Hot Billboard 100 in America and in the UK back in 1982. It was from Joe Jackson's album Night and Day. This is a song that I've heard for a long time, just on the radio sometimes. I was a little young, I was 5 in 1982. My parents didn't have the album. I heard it on the radio, always dug it. It's got this like thing going in the background, and it just like makes you feel all cool right from the start. And then there's a lot going on in it theory-wise, like chord-wise, harmony-wise, that is worth talking about. Kudos to Joe Jackson for playing every instrument on the track. The track had an electronic drum machine, and the only person that actually played, besides Joe Jackson doing every instrument, was a drummer, just like accenting 2 and 4, making it a little bit stronger, and also some cymbal crashes, I think. But kudos to Joe Jackson, who is a multi-instrumentalist. He plays keyboards great, he plays saxophone great. And also kudos to Joe Jackson for having a hit and not having a full head of hair, much like the great Phil Collins, or like James Taylor, Elton John, Michael Bolton, who were all allowed to have hits without having a full head of hair. Like, if you try to do that in 2024 today, like, you are not getting on the Billboard Hot 100 because your hair doesn't come all the way to the front of your freaking hairline, your forehead. And I think it's a travesty, and I just wanted to say that right from the beginning. The whole world is being deprived of great pop hits just because of hairlines. Okay, we're going to go over to the piano and we're going to talk about this song because I love it and it's going to blow your friggin' mind. The song is in F sharp major. And let's just take a second to appreciate these lyrics. Now, the mist across the window hides the lines, but nothing hides the color of the lights that shine. I like this part. Electricity is so fine. Look and dry your eyes. It's so good. I know it's hooked you right from the beginning because you're just like, oh, like those of you that grew up in the early 80s, I can't even imagine having this song like be part of the soundtrack of your growing up. Like, I think that this song is just basically about like what it feels like at night when you decide to go out with the person that you love, or, you know, that you're seeing, and you step out into the night. Now, I will admit that for years, I thought that the lyric was bluebird stepping out, beauty alive, beauty. That's what I thought. Not since I got older. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So I looked it up. It's me, babe, stepping out into the night, into the light. You, babe, stepping out into the night, into the light. And we're young. We're getting old before our time. We'll leave the TV and the radio behind. Don't you wonder what we'll find stepping out tonight? Like, it's so cool. All right, song. Right, F sharp major. You could call it G flat major if you want, but you'd have to fight me about it. F sharp major 7 is the first chord, just like this. Then, do 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 do. So we move to E major 7, then down to D sharp minor 7. Then we go do 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 do. Move to A, to B, then to D, do, 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 and then to E. So if we're in F sharp, we've got these notes. F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, and F. And nowhere in there do I see an E, which is the second chord. Like, nowhere do I see it. And then a little bit later, we move to a D chord, right? Nowhere in there do I see a D. I don't see D, I don't see E. So if this happens, you want to ask yourself, where do these chords actually come from? Like, how can we be in a key and then we're not in a key? Again, we are not in a key, but then we're back to a key. Now, if you grew up a little bit later, like me, you probably recognize these chords as like the Mario cadence. Right? That's what it is. Let's look at it in C, because I know maybe some of you think better in the key of C. So, right? These are the notes of C. If we play a B flat chord or an A flat chord, those notes do not occur in C major. So anytime we use a chord like this that doesn't have these diatonic notes to C major, we're borrowing from some other key. We can talk about that later. But that's what this song is doing so poignantly, I think. We move right to it. Now, here's something to think about. If we're going to think about where did the E and the D come from, we could think about a place that is typically borrowed from, which is the parallel minor. To make F sharp major, F sharp minor allows us these two notes. We play a natural minor scale in this key, and we get those two notes. We don't get them in F sharp major, but we get them in F sharp minor. So we have to wonder if we're borrowing from F sharp minor. But this song it's very major. That major 7th chord just sounds like all things mystical and beautiful and magical to me. I don't know, for some reason it always reminds me of the Never-Ending Story or something, and the 80s. But as soon as we move to here, we're in a new realm. Da 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 da. And you could think, like if we're using these chords, there are plenty of songs that do that, right? And I know that you've done that because probably the first song you wrote was in A minor. I'm talking to you. Probably the first song you wrote was in A minor. And you probably went to G next and to F next. Right? Van Morrison did it on Moondance. Like everybody does that. It's the same thing. If we were F sharp minor, we could sing Moondance. We could do it, but we're not. Every time that we think we're going to come back to F sharp minor, da da ba dee da 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 da, it comes right back to where we were, which is hopeful, I think. And it also paints this picture of the lights and the night and how cool it feels and everything, the electricity, I think. So we do it again. Da, da, ba, dee, da, 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 da. And you might think that it's going to come back again, da, da, but it doesn't. It goes da 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 da. Check that out. Now, I don't know about the rest of you music theory buffs out there, but to me, the way that this chord feels, this C sharp minor chord at this moment, it feels like the minor 3. And then when it goes da 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 da, these feel like a 4 and a 5. Da, 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 da. That's how it feels to me. Like it feels like we're in A major. The second that we hit that C sharp minor chord, it feels like we're changing things. I mean, I know that you've heard this song a bunch of times, so you didn't expect it to go to A major, but as soon as it goes da, ba, do, do, do. I mean, if we're in F sharp major, this is the 5th degree, and we have just built a minor chord. So we have to call this the minor 5. It's not something that shows up very often in a major key, like ever. It is something that would show up if we were in F minor, right? If we had these notes. We have this one, we have this one, and we have this one. We have those notes if we were in F sharp minor. And if we were in A major, those notes show up as well. They do not show up in F sharp major. So we're borrowing from the parallel minor, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's a type of modal interchange, I suppose. Now, I mean, the fact that we go back to F sharp major is killer, but the fact that it is another major 7 freaking never-ending story chord, ooh, is so early 80s. It's so, it's like new wave and everything about, just teenage years and freedom. And I don't know if you feel it. I totally feel that. And I just think it's such a nice device, like something we don't think to do. It's the same, right? It's the same as if we're in C major. Da. Even the melody looks like C minor, right? But it's not. And here we go to the 5 minor. Still very much looks like it could be C minor or even E flat major, but no. Holy moly, isn't that beautiful? That's about all I wanted to say, you guys. I just think, I could talk about the production of this song. You should watch, there's a video that I'll link about Joe Jackson, like recreating this song with real instruments, also with the drum machine, but it's a fun one from not that long ago. Joe Jackson was a presence in those times. He had that other hit, Is She Really Going Out With Him? If you haven't visited Joe Jackson in a while, go visit Joe Jackson. It's time well spent. What a great song. I hope that you enjoyed seeing this video come through on your feed today. I wanted to talk to you about what's been happening to me in my emails and in my texts recently, and that's the fact that it seems like my spam has gotten a lot more, actually. But the sponsor of today's video has taken care of that for me, and it's crazy. Did you know that Incogni can take care of this problem for you? It can get your personal data taken down. Every year, the number of data breaches on the internet goes up. And did you know that there are data brokers out there that buy and sell your information like it's nothing? It really gets to you if you start to think about it. They're like harvesting our phone numbers, our email addresses, our shopping habits, maybe even our social security numbers. And then they sell that information to the highest bidder. There are probably hundreds of companies out there right now that have our information. And of course, that means more spam calls, more spam texts and everything. But it's also possible identity theft, possible doxing. So Incogni removes your information from these data brokers and then fights for you to keep them removed. And using my code today, Amy Nolte, will get you a 60% discount. And all you have to do is if you sign up, create an account, and you give them permission to do it, they'll remove your information from these brokers. And if it shows up again, they will detect it because they do constant checks. And they'll make sure that your personal information stays off the market for good. After I did it, I saw a big difference, and it's actually pretty scary to see how many data brokers had my data, but also cool to watch as Incogni deletes them one by one. If these brokers fight, Incogni fights back for you, and they send repeated letters, as many as they have to, until your information is removed from the databases. If you'd like to give it a shot, use the code you see right here. Gets you a 60% discount, and you can stop having to go click, 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 delete like I have done, and just check your freaking email like a normal person. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time on Amy Nolte Music.